The latest modern theory is business is created by the society, and so it has obligations towards the society. And that is most practiced theory in any part of the world, including in India. Now, manufacturing process causes damages to the nature. Will not go into the detail because of the time, just ending. Damage done to the nature can't be repaired. There are certain environmental problems in any part of the world. Global warming, effect of greenhouses, ozone depletion, deforestation, pollution. That is the focus of the country now. What is CSR? There is different people at different times, under different situations and circumstances have defined the word CSR in their own different ways. There is no single definition which I treat as one of the best on CSR. Some say it is philanthropy, some say it is corporate responsibility. There are people who say it is corporate social responsibility. There are people who say that it is corporate sustainability. I think is it all, or it is only the CSR? The concept is overlapping. These concepts are overlapping. Like philanthropy, it is only charity and donations. It is not CSR. You can't say that it is CSR. There is a huge literature on that. CR is bigger than CSR because CR includes corporate governance and ethics, while CSR focuses only on social aspect. So CR is bigger than CSR. Another is corporate sustainability. There is a difference. CSR is the beginning and CS corporate sustainability is the end. It is a process which starts at corporate social responsibility ends at corporate sustainability. And then the last is, there is a difference between CSR and corporate governance. And both the terms are complementary. This is all about. Thank you. There are many slides. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your cutting down your presentation. Next, I'll invite Mr. Sanghvi, who is going to speak on the private sector's role in providing solutions to public problems.
Good afternoon. I'm going to try to take a different approach. My name is Nehal Sanghvi and I'm with USAID. And I'm going to try to take a different approach because I want to talk about CSR, but I want to talk about CSR today from a different angle. I first of all want to talk about CSR and partnership, and then I want to talk about CSR and results. So first of all, thank you to the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be here today on behalf of USAID. And I also want to say that you've given us a very difficult task, not just myself, but all my co-panelists, because you've kept us between you and lunch. And that's not an easy place to be. So I will try to keep my remarks brief, and we'll make sure that we get the ball rolling again to get you closer to lunch. I just wanted to say a couple of things. Why is it important to even have CSR regulations? Ultimately, what are we trying to accomplish? Clearly, we are trying to accomplish results, whether it be health or education or poverty alleviation or any of the focus areas. We want to get results. So we think the way to get results is through partnership. Next week, India will be celebrating 3 years of being polio-free. It's a huge accomplishment for the country. Clearly, no one organization was able to do that. There were a variety of stakeholders involved. Government was involved, civil society was involved, donor institutions were involved, brand ambassadors were involved, Bollywood was involved, Rotary clubs were involved, and we achieved results. How do we look at the new CSR law to get us closer to results? Because that's what we all want. In our opinion, at USAID, we believe that one way to do that is by partnering. either partnering with donor agencies or corporates partnering amongst themselves or partnering with other multilateral donors, partnering with the NGO sector, but creating a platform in which, again, all of these partners can come together to identify a certain goal. A wise man once told me, partnership is hell. And I tend to agree with them. Partnership is not easy, but it is crucial if we want to get the results that we want. So how do we begin creating platforms which allow PSUs and the private sector, through their funds or through other avenues, to join a particular platform so we can partner together to get results? Well, we believe that there are a number of ways we can do that. At USAID, and of course we've been here in India for the last 60 years, but there's a transition that has occurred in the last few years in the way that we've been approaching our relationship with India. And there's no question that India is no longer doesn't have a traditional donor-beneficiary relationship anymore. It is a strategic partner. There are incredible resources available in India. There are incredibly bright people who actually can get to solutions. There's incredible amounts of money in here. So how do we actually achieve to work together to get those results? Well, we think we also have start making a bigger focus on innovation. There's no question that some of the best minds when it comes to addressing development challenges in India can create innovative products or technologies which have some applicability in India as well as applicability abroad. Maybe applicability for Africa or other countries. There is no question that if we focus on innovative technologies through partnership with local partners, we can actually achieve results. So what we have done over the last 1 year is create 5 platforms. We have 5 existing platforms, one for maternal and child health, one for tuberculosis, one for off-grid clean energy, one for early literacy, and now a 5th one also called the Millennium Alliance, which is a cross-sectoral platform which supports social innovation. The key is to have whoever is interested, a private sector entity, public sector undertaking, academia, brand ambassadors, civil society, etc., to join one of those platforms if they so wish, to work in partnership to achieve results. Another way you can work with us through partnership is you may have your own idea, or somebody else may have their own idea on how to achieve results. Great, you can apply for a 1-to-1 match on funding with USAID. So any company in the country, any public sector undertaking can apply and say, we want to curb malaria. Okay, great. There's a 1-to-1 match that you can apply for where the USAID will be able to potentially be a partner where our resources match your resources to achieve results. But this gets to the bottom line. Results. I don't think anybody wants to see any of these CSR funds wasted. So how do we get results? The biggest asset of USAID in this whole process actually is not the money that USAID brings to the table, although it can be significant at times. In my opinion, it is rigorous monitoring and evaluation. Whatever project we engage in, whatever project the CSR funds engage in, I think it's crucial that that project has a monitoring and evaluation element to it, right from the beginning. That way we can see as the project is going on whether or not we're getting the results that we are hoping to achieve. Otherwise, what's the point? It's just a waste of money. Whether or not we can get those results is based on a program that will be implemented from initiation and strict monitoring along the way. Do I have one other thing? Great. Strict monitoring along the way. One thing the private sector is very good at is oftentimes getting results, maybe faster than other groups are. What if we use the private sector expertise? What if we used experience of government? What if we use the ability to bring on other partners to then continually monitor to make sure we're getting the results we are supposed to be getting? And if we're not, be flexible enough to change our path to then ensure results. There is no easy solution to any of this. We're dealing with serious development challenges all around the world. But if we're able to work together with strict monitoring and evaluation in place, I believe that we can get results. So my invitation to everybody in this room is to please consider working with us or some other partner Or please, as you start developing CSR strategies within your own communities, as you're thinking about this, even if you're not developing a CSR strategy, if you're meeting people that are developing CSR strategies, please, please, please encourage them to absolutely attempt to work in partnership, even though it's not easy. And please attempt to encourage them to look at results, because ultimately, that's what we all want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sanghvi. That was amazingly within time, but also I have to thank you for being so polite as not to correct me. This is the problem when you take over the chair suddenly. I made a mistake in announcing the title. I didn't have actually a title, but I now suppose we know that it's about partnership and USA perspective on partnership for CSR. The title I announced earlier is actually the title of Bhumik Shah's presentation, who I will call upon to make it next. I'll repeat it for everyone's benefit. It's private sector's role in providing solutions for public problems.
As he sets up the presentation, good afternoon. I work with an organization called Partners in Change. This is a pioneer organization in India to begin work on CSR. We were started in 1995. When liberalization was in India, many companies were entering into India, and there was a thought that these companies might need support from civil society organizations to work with the grassroots communities, to work with people to provide solutions for the public problems. So this organization was set up in 1995, and since then we have been working as an external consultant, as a think tank for Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Recently, we are a partner with Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, IICA, which is the nodal agency for taking care of Section 135 under the New Companies Act. They have selected 10 partners across India, and we are one of the 10 partners to build capacities of companies and NGOs in the CSR domain. To begin with that, I am not going to take much time. I will deliberate on 5 key points that how private sector can solve public problems in India through CSR. This is a photograph. I think everybody is aware of this photograph. We have seen this photograph 10-12 days back in newspapers. This photograph presents expectations, challenges, reality and challenges of CSR in India. How? I will try to explain. We all know that businesses are there legally entitled to make profit. We can't question the process. We can't question the intent. Businesses are formed to get or to maximize profit for the shareholders. But what we can question is how do they make profit? And that is where the role of CSR comes in. This is a photograph which is making rounds on social media platforms. This is much preferred photograph by my colleagues because this talks about human-to-human relationships. It talks about how companies can move from business to business approach or business to consumer based approach to human based approach. How? Companies know that this approach of making profit, business as usual scenario is no more working. They have to think beyond their geography, they have to think beyond making profit. Coca-Cola cannot think of just Atlanta, Google can't think of just Mountain View, and Tata can't think of Jamshedpur. They are now global conglomerate. They have their supply chain across the globe. So they have different challenges, different kind of problems. And how do they solve it? They have to balance shareholders, profit, and stakeholders' planet. This is the key thing where many companies are struggling to balance between the two. Why? If you try to understand the process, one of my colleagues says shareholders' profit is kind of adolescent crush, and stakeholders' planet is like Indian marriage, a happy married life. So when you think from sustainability point of view, you have to think stakeholders' planet, stakeholders' benefit. You can't just think of shareholders' profit. If you have heard of Team Plan B, this is a group of top 15 companies across the globe. A foundation has been set up by Richard Branson, Virgin Group head, Tata is there, Unilever is there, Puma is there. There are 14 global companies, leaders who are working towards creating or sensitizing different companies to make changes in their environment, their practices, so that they create entrepreneurship model at the grassroots level. They provide solution to the people and planet to have sustainable business plan. Why IBM is talking about smarter city? Why Unilever is talking about less water detergent? Why Procter & Gamble is talking about healthier society? Why Intel is talking about improving education? Why Microsoft is talking about better planet? Each and every company on the globe which has footprint across the globe is thinking about providing solution to the public problem through engaging at the grassroots level or through partnerships, as Nehal was talking about. So this is the expectation. Private enterprises solve the public problems. All 5 things that you see: smarter city, urban area, water, healthier society, education and better planet, about environment, all these are public problems. But companies have started thinking about providing solutions to these problems through their engagement, through their corporate social responsibility initiatives. The expectation is that how do they provide solutions, and the reality is this one. Many corporates still do not understand the larger context of corporate social responsibility because there are certain challenges. What are they? In Indian context, there are political challenges when you talk about corporate social responsibility. I was sitting in the chamber of a corporate social responsibility head of a PSU which has budget of 400 crore rupees for corporate social responsibility. Suddenly a member of parliament calls him and tells him, "Can you spend 20 lakh rupees for construction of a temple in my village?" These are the political pressures that companies go through. Because these are the large companies, they have to deal with land, they have to deal with bureaucrat, they always have this political and bureaucratic pressure. These are the challenges. Shareholders are different groups, these are different pressure groups, they have to balance that. Redefining the businesses, they have to reposition the businesses when they talk about corporate social responsibility in sustainability context or the larger context of the society. Innovations and scaling up. Each and every company can't take up innovations. They have to imbibe through different processes and get to the roots of the cause to find out new approaches for their responsibility and solutions. Creating entrepreneurs. Coca-Cola is much talked about to reaching out to all across the globe. We in India have 4.2 million NGOs, 42 lakh NGO. Still we are not able to provide basic healthcare services or basic education to rural or remote areas. But Coca-Cola is able to reach, one single company is able to reach every nook and corner of the globe, everywhere. You talk about 210 countries, Coca-Cola is everywhere. Because they have that kind of approach. They think that entrepreneurship creates sustainability and they have taken that approach across the globe. And moving beyond the charity, this is one biggest challenge that Indian companies will face in next couple of years. Because they are going to have pressure from civil society that their CSI spending should go to NGOs. But NGOs are not the solution provider. Solution should come from corporates. Corporates should have partnership models where they come up with innovations for social problems. One big thing, moving from voluntary to mandatory or compliance era. It's a testing phase. We can't say that it's right or wrong right now. We have to wait for next 4 to 5 years to see the results, that how corporates are going to follow the rules and how they are going to make impacts at the grassroots level. One thing from our practices, we work with around 110 companies in India and we work with 410 NGOs and Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Our experience of last 6 months, once the bill became an act in August, we have experienced that companies are now talking about CSR. It has moved from cubicle of a CSR head to boardrooms of the companies. Companies and CEOs and MDs are talking about how I am going to spend this 10 crore, 20 crore, 50 crore rupees under my CSR budget. So companies are getting sensitized, but we need to wait and watch that how they are going to bring impact at the grassroots level. Thanks a lot.
Okay, it looks like Professor Anand Kumar is not going to be here, so I'll have to announce that I will speak next. I will try also to keep to the time limit, and then we will take a few questions, very few questions, at the end. After school. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much to Shandal College for inviting me here and for organizing such a splendid conference. Warm congratulations on that. As Nehal Sanghvi already pointed out, this is the worst time in which to do any talking when everyone's waiting to go to lunch. So I will try to keep my presentation as brief as possible. Just do want to point out also, since I'm also doubling up as the chair, that we've had very interesting thematic bunches of presentations in this session. In the beginning we had two on disability, and then we had a very comprehensive, historically grounded presentation by Professor Sharma on the idea of corporate social responsibility itself. And then we had two papers on partnership. I think that sort of brings together very interesting themes onto one panel. And if we were to look at them together, they make a lot of sense. And at the very end, I come here to offer a completely different kind of perspective, but what I will try and do is to link with the